tomorrow will be better. In this other video, guys, I'm going to teach you how to factorize a polynomial completely, and we'll be answering the second part of the question, whose first part consisted of looking for the variable a and b as shown on the board. So haven't done this using a substitution method and using solving simultaneous equation using a new method which is convenient for you. We will now go ahead to factorize this polynomial completely. So how do we go about it? Watch me. Now, to factorize a polynomial completely means to look for the other factors of that polynomial. For example, if I have a number like 8 and I have just one factor of this number 2, if I'm asked to find other factors of this 8, the only thing that I can do here, or the easiest which I can do here, is to divide this 8 by 2, which is going to give me 4. And automatically 4 is another factor of our 8, okay? So in this video, I'm going to use a similar approach, but here they call it the long division. I'm going to use a long division to factorize this expression completely. So without wasting time, let's go about it. How do we use long division here? Now, we already know that one of the factors of this polynomial here is x plus 1, okay? So this is how we write it. We write x plus 1 here. We write out the polynomial here, which is 2x cubed plus 5x squared plus x and then minus 2. And now let's start with the long division. How is it done? We will take term by term and divide it by the factor one after the other in this manner. 2x cubed divided by x plus 1 gives us 2x squared. What do we do with this? We multiply this by every individual term of the factor. So we'll have that 2x squared times x, which gives us again 2x cubed. Again this times this, which just gives us itself 2x squared. And there's nothing more here. So, and then traditionally we'll carry out a subtraction of this minus what we just had. So 2x cubed minus 2x cubed equals, and now we have 5x squared minus 2x squared. This is going to give us 3x squared. Now x minus 0 is just going to be x, and then minus 2 minus 0 remains minus 2. We take the same procedure all over. Again, this divided by this, which is going to give us this time around plus 3x. Okay, again we take the reverse process, which is this times this, 3x times x, giving us here 3x squared, 3x times 1, which is just 3x. Okay, and then traditionally we will do the subtraction again. Again here I'm going to have that this term is going to disappear, 0. Now we have x minus 3x. Be very careful here with the signs, okay? We have a small number being subtracted by a big number. The result is going to be negative 2x. And then now we have negative 2 minus 0, which is just negative 2. We keep it there. Alright, now we repeat the procedure again. Negative 2x divided by x, we're just going to be left with a negative 2. And now we do the reverse process again. Negative 2 times x, which is a negative 2x. And then negative 2 times 1, which is just a negative 2. Alright, if you do again the usual subtraction, you will realize that everything is going to crumble down to 0. And this confirms the fact that this is actually a factor of this polynomial, because when the polynomial is divided by this factor, the remainder is 0. So this is how now we can rewrite our polynomial. Before I tell you how we can rewrite our polynomial, let me just use this example of the 8. Haven't found that 2 was a factor of 8, and that we could use the same 2 to find other factors of 8, and we found one which was 4. Now we can express 8 as 2 times 4. Okay, so in mathematics we will say we've expressed a number in terms of 8 factors. All right, so that's the same thing we're going to do right now without wasting time. Okay, so we will now write that p of x, the polynomial p of x, can be expressed as a product of 8 factors. The first factor being x plus 1, and then the second factor being what we just had up here, because we divided the polynomial p of x by one of its factors to obtain another factor. So now we want to express this polynomial as a product of the 2 factors we just had. So we're going to have here 2x squared plus 3x and then minus 2. Okay, so this is what we have now. Again, I want you to notice something here. This is a quadratic expression, or a quadratic factor, or a quadratic term, which can be further factorized. Okay, this is not going to be the object of today's lesson. You could contact me to do a special session for you on how to factorize quadratic expression. So, but I'm just going to give you a hint here. Usually we will say look for AC, and AC in this case will be 2 times negative 2. Okay, 2 times negative 2, which gives me negative 4. Now look for two factors of AC such that when added, we're going to obtain B. Okay, so if you do this, you can pause this video and do it on your own. And if you do it correctly, you're going to have that. So we will say, but 2x squared plus 3x minus 2 can be further factorized as, now I'm just going to go ahead with the factorization. So I'm going to have here that 2x squared. Now the two factors of AC which are found were plus 4x and then minus 1x. I'm just going to write x, okay, minus x and then minus 2. Notice that I've written 3x in terms of 4x minus 1. I haven't changed anything, guys, because this will still boil down to this. All right, so now I'm going to play around with this 2 and say that here I have 2x squared. Now look at this, plus 4x and then minus x and then minus 2. These two first terms have something in common, which is 2x, and then these last ones have something in common. Can you guess that? They have negative 1 in common. Okay, so if I factorize it, I'm going to have that 2x. If I pull out 2x from here, I'm left with just x, and then here I will be left with just 2, because if I do the reverse operation, which is expansion, it gives me back my original expression. Right, so here there's a minus and here there's a minus 1. Minus 1, minus 1. So I bring out that minus 1, and then if I take away the minus here, I'm just left with x. And if I take away the minus 1 here, I'm left with just a 2. Be very careful, guys. Don't come here and write negative 1, because if you do the reverse, if you write negative 2 here, and then you do the reverse process, which is expansion, you're going to have a positive 2 instead of a negative 2. Okay, in order to be sure and confident of your work, at each step, try to do a reverse of what you did and see if you get the previous expression, okay? Because in essence, nothing should be changed in the end, all right? So if I do this and I factorize it completely, I'm going to have that. There's 2x here. This is what we usually do, this and this. And then we have x plus 2. So this quadratic expression or quadratic factor has been further factorized into this. Therefore, the entire polynomial p of x is therefore x. Now we're expressing the polynomial in terms of all its factors. And this is what it means to factorize a polynomial completely. So this is a complete factorizing of the polynomial p of x. Why is it so? Because tomorrow is going to be better. Thank you.